Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. Welcome back to the Sunday evening weekly review Ahmadiyya Fact Check blog channel, coming to you live, California. You know what it is. Got a lot to talk about tonight. Just going to jump right into it. So, Khurram Shah, as you know, this guy's got a personal problem with me. He hates me so much. You have no idea. I don't have a personal problem with anyone in general, like on the planet. I don't have any personal beefs. I could walk up to anyone, have a seat, have a Coke and a smile. I don't have a beef. You know what I mean? I just don't. I don't have problems like that with people. You know what I mean? And I'm a basketball player, so I foul people all the time and apologize all the time. It's not a big deal. I'm not a prideful guy where I can't admit if I'm wrong or if I make a mistake. I admit to that stuff all the time. Right? Khurram Shah cannot. He is all of that, the prideful, the haughty, never confess to a mistake. Damon the same, Jonathan Gaffar the same. These are the three stooges. They had one of my best friend's father on their show, and I won't say the name, but and the names, but I respect them folks, you know. I don't even talk to them about religion, and I know them, you know what I mean? But I don't want to, you know, if they push me into it, that's a little different, but it's respect. And I don't talk to 90-year-old people about religion. I don't bring them on the show and talk about religion, especially if they don't have a computer. If you don't have computer access in 2021, your knowledge is lacking. You don't have the proper knowledge. You're going off of memory. Memory doesn't work. So let's talk about the first thing that Khurram Shah brought up, right? The first thing he's talking about is Chanda. We're all mad they're collecting Chanda and this and that. And he says you won't get kicked out if you don't pay Chanda, yada, yada, yada. So Khurram, that's what he did. He wanted to pay Chanda. You know what I mean? He wants to buy heaven. He wants to buy his way in because his character is so messed up. You see, there is a famous hadith that says character outweighs prayers and fasting and all of that. To be a good person, to not rob people, to not steal people. And I'll tell you a story. I had an uncle from Baypoint, California, who's a thief, confirmed thief. So in Islam, we don't like thieves. If you're a thief, you should have your hand chopped off, right? Since he was an Ahmadi, Khurram helped him out later on in life when he was doing terrible. I mean, you could be a rapist. Khurram's going to help you if you're a Qadiani. You could be the worst human being. You could be a relative of the Khalifa, live in Walnut Creek, and sell drugs and do nothing good with your life. He'll buy you shoes. He'll do anything. But the moment you criticize Ahmadiyya, Khurram Shah loses it. He can't have that conversation with any of his siblings. He's never had it. Any of his cousins, he cannot have it. He's emotional. He flies into emotion, right? And I'm not an emotional person. I don't have those issues. I don't, Allah blessed me with this disposition. You know, if I was emotional, I'd never be where I'm at in life today. If I was always going the emotional route, you know, always trying, I had so much pride and etc. So the first thing I wanted to show was a video from the president of the USA Jamaat, who I'm about to start writing letters to, Mirza Maghfur Ahmad, who is a brother of the Khalifa, right? He says in the Jalsa 2019, he's threatening people. He's like, if you don't pay Chanda, Mirza Ghulam Ahmad was kicking people out. We're going to do the same. Pay your Chanda. And then he gives the statistics. I think he says 30% of the Jamaat pays 80% of the Chanda. You know, and so Khurram's like, oh, find me people, Chanda payers. Find Chanda payers who leave the Jamaat. Well, the people who are paying these high amounts of Chanda, they want their kids to get rishtas. They're in this community because they're in this community. They want to live there. So they're giving money to it. Most of the time, they're thieves. You know, there was that guy from LA, Kareem Ahmed, who they said he was a mega donor for Obama, and then he got investigated for manslaughter. These are not good people. In Islam, your Jannah is not based on your riches and how much you give or how much you pray, and etc. There's other factors, you know. And yes, salat is going to be asked about on the Day of Judgment, prayers. But if good character is also going to be, well, what'd you do with your brothers and your sisters? Did you inherit a small business and didn't cut anyone in, and fed your in-laws, and fought with your siblings, and didn't want to give your siblings anything because you wanted to be in control? So this is Huram Shah. He wants to be in control. He wants to be in charge, even if he's not deserving to be in charge. So honestly, on a personal level, anyone who wants something that they haven't earned, I have a problem with it. You shouldn't want anything you've never earned. You should earn what you have, right? And say you get something without earning it. Don't brag. Don't be haughty. Don't be arrogant. Understand you got lucky, and you got some inheritance or whatever. Don't go to the successful people, the highly successful, through adversity and make comparisons. That's just not it. So let me play this video, and it will all make sense. So I just click share the screen. Let's see. Boom. Share it. Okay, it's sharing. And we're off. Oh, let me just put the beginning.
To Chanda professionally did not use word financial sacrifice, because by no means that I can see maybe one or two individuals in this country who are sacrificing it financially. They have not reached to that point that we call it a sacrifice. But if you take those numbers, 33% of Jamaat earning members are paying 84% of the Chanda, Lazmi Chanda. The rest, 67%, are only paying, 17% are not paying at all. These are the Chanda Jat was prescribed by Hazrat Masih Maud alayhi salam. And at one point when he prescribed those chandas in his life, he wrote that I give my Jamaat 3 months. And if they don't give these chandas or not willing to do it, they will be expelled from the Jamaat. So adamant, and so obviously he wanted to follow this. Another unfortunate fact is and it's very obvious from looking at the numbers from the financial contributions and wasiyah that our love for mighty dollar is much stronger than our claim of love for our faith.
Okay, I'm back. So it's funny. Huram says, our job is just to remind. We are just reminding people that they have to pay. And that's how he says it. But that's a lie. They harass people, right? I remember this silly Ahmadi from Baypoint, Omer Yunus, and I'm going to do a video on him too. He'd come up to me, brother, hey, you need to pay this. I'd be like, stop begging me for money. Why are you coming up to me begging me for money? He was like, well, it's not for me, it's for the Jamaat. I'm like, stop begging for money for anyone. If someone's going to get this, should be voluntary. You don't approach them begging for money. Why are you doing this? Right? So he's a silly dude, bro. He didn't shower. I'm going to do a video on this guy. You know, the more ignorant a Pakistani is, a Pakistani Ahmadi is, the more likely he'll be a hardcore Qadiani. And that's just how it goes. So, okay, in this video, Mirza Maqfoor Ahmed says, you're not sacrificing. He's like, all you Ahmadis in America, he's like, I'm not even going to call it a sacrifice. He's so rude. Huram Shah said, we're rude when we ask questions. This isn't rude? This isn't rude and arrogant? How dare you? Look at how he's talking. He says it's not even a sacrifice. He said only 1 or 2 people are sacrificing in all of America. And you know what? My dad was. My dad sacrificed my pay, my food, my clothing. That's how he gave Chanda. There's no other way. He didn't have any money. He could never earn any money. He never made anything. He made money because his kids were working for free. And that's what he was rolling around in pomp and celebration. We grew up on welfare because he didn't want to work, right? And as soon as he got money, he gave. He's like, well, because he has bad character. So he's like, I'm going to buy my Jannah. That's un-Islamic. You don't go that route. You should pray and fast and do and have good character. And then it'll be up to Allah based on what you do. That's how it goes. That's how it works. But Khurram Shah, he brings on a 90-year-old respected man. He's like my father too. Raqib Wali is like my grandfather, bigger than my own father. He's like 20 years older than my father. We're like he's the boy, the homie. You see what I'm saying? So, anyways, that's the first part. Let me see what else is in my notes here. So Khurram Shah, we need you to watch this video and explain word for word what it means. Why is Mirza Ghulam Ahmad saying all these things? Why did he say that Mirza Ghulam Ahmad threatened Jamaat members with expulsion if they didn't give something? Why? Well, right? And that corresponds to all the things that we say is that, Chanda's being forced. It's being forced and it's not being forced because they don't want to sound like they're forcing it. But they're forcing it. Ahmadiyya movement needs everyone's money. They're begging for it. Give us your money. Give us your time and give us your children. This is what they're asking for. And it's total hogwash. It's financial exploitation. I posted all the stuff from Germany, how they're exploiting their own members in Germany. So, all right, let me go to my notes here as I put my glasses on. So then he says, Mirza Tahir Ahmad lived in a flat, a small house, and the current Khalifa lived there too. And why? If it's all about the money. Well, Warren Buffett lives in a small house. Indian people historically are stingy with their money. They don't spend. They're not spending the money. They don't even live lavishly. They hide all their money because they're greedy. All right. Okay, but what about the second Khalifa? Where he lived in Rabwa, Qasr-e Khalafas, the mansion of Khalafas? It's a huge complex. What about that? Yeah, he forgot. That's what Khurram Shah does. When the police investigate his operation, when it comes to payroll tax, when it comes to hiring practices, he'll hide and lie. He will lie about everything he's doing, right? And he'll forget. Okay, so what about Mirza Ghulam Ahmad's house? Mirza Ghulam Ahmad had a mansion that over 100 people were living in 1908. In 1907, Mirza Ghulam, a year before he died, I estimate 100 people living in Mirza Ghulam Ahmad's mansion complex. Nuruddin's family, Mufti Muhammad Sadiq's wives and children, right? Muhammad Hassan Imrohi's wives and children. And all these people are not related to Mirza Ghulam Ahmad. Why are they living in his house? Because it was an inside job. These are the ghostwriters, many others. Read my blog. I've written about the whole thing. So he forgets all that, right? Oh, then look, Jonathan Gaffar comes on, and it's funny. He admits he had a thing for drinking scotch, right? He already admitted he hasn't read all the books, and I'll come to that in a sec. Jonathan Gaffar says, "Oh, they're bad. They don't have a Khalifa." What are you guys talking about? I'm a citizen of the United States of America. My leader is Joe Biden. He's the president. Before that, it was a guy named Trump. He was the leader. I'm from California. These are my leaders. What are you guys even talking about? Right? It's just sense. So, okay, look, let me take a look at this comment. Oh, thank you, brother. Yeah, blood-sucking behavior, brother. Brother, if I tell you, I grew up, I didn't even used to eat. I used to just eat a bag of chips and a soda. That's how they had me. They wanted me to sacrifice my life for this thing and be poor and broke. And Huram was going to get all the money. They're like, he's going to get the money. He'll be in charge. And you just be a guy who is poor your whole life and you get nothing. And I was like, what? Why? Why is this how the cards fall? You know, who are you to say? You know, the other issue was, what about all the ability that I have? The math ability, the reading and writing ability. It goes for nothing? You know, and basically he was saying, yeah, he doesn't care. So, okay. Oh, then we're so Huram calls me an atheist, right? And then he wonders why his wife gets talked about. But he doesn't understand. If you disrespect a man, then you put your hands up. If you don't want to put your hands up and you'll call the police, then why do you have a personal problem? It's a one-sided personal problem. I don't have a personal problem. And I don't put my hands up, right? Because I don't want to hurt anyone and go to jail. So I don't even do that. I haven't been in a fight in over a decade. I don't really do that, right? So this guy doesn't want to do either. You know, me and him could have a charity boxing event, put on some gloves. You know, we could do that. Me and Damon or Jonathan, let's have a charity boxing event. And then we could tape it, stream it, and then whatever money we get, we'll give to the poor people in California. How about that for a solution? That way everyone wins, you know? And hopefully Kiki or Huram, he makes it out with minor injuries. I promise I won't punch you hard. I promise I don't even have to. I mean, he's going to be so afraid, you know what I mean? He's going to pee his pants, and then that'll be the end of that. So he says, this guy's an atheist, but he believes in these miracles. Well, you just disproved yourself. How could I be an atheist and believe in all the miracles of the Quran? See, this is who we're dealing with here. We're dealing with a guy who didn't go to, he's happy he didn't go to college. He's like, because if I went to college, I would have questioned Ahmadiyya too. That's what's in his head. So he's like, it's good he didn't go. What about his kids? They went to college. A few of them. Probably going to be all of them. You know, are they going to question it? So he's got all these little problems, man. Like in his head, you know, his wife, who's also his cousin, Kamta Shah, who's been in America 26 years, can't pass college, can't pass community college, can't get a job, can't work in society, can't be around human like Americans, nor be normal, has to be around like Desi Amdi people. Those are like her only friends and etc. You know. So let's see. Oh, then so sorry about that. So then he talks about Chanda and etc. etc. You shouldn't give Chanda if you're going in debt. If you're in debt, you need to pay off your debts as a Muslim before you start giving to other people, right? My father has a debt on his house in Baypoint. Huram was supposed to take care of it. He didn't. You have no right to give Chanda before you need to pay off this debt. Then you can do whatever with your money. Your brothers worked with you for 10 to 15 years and got nothing. All right? And I worked really hard. You know, I worked harder than all you guys, right? It's not even close. Based on the man hours and the amount of labor that I did, I worked harder by age 15 than my father did in his whole life. And that's an unfortunate fact. Because the body that I had, I can work. I could do these long hours of labor. And I'm okay. Probably not anymore, you know, but remember, we were on welfare. Who comes to America and is on welfare? Living in the 80s, in the crack era. We're in the worst neighborhoods that you could ever imagine. And then that guy gave Chanda? Something's wrong. There's an obsession. And it's not my father's fault. It's Mirza Tahir Ahmed's fault. It's Mirza Nasser Ahmed's fault. It's Mirza Masroor Ahmed's fault. They should be arrested. They should be taken up on international crimes to humanity. All right. See what else. Okay, so Rakib Wali, very respected. I have so much respect for this man. You know, and he's an extreme elder. You know what I mean? And his son's my best friend, so he's like my father, right? And I'm not friends with his son because of we go golfing or something like that. That's folk. That's my folks, right? Nothing else matters. And there's no financial. I've never lent him no money. I've never saved his life. I've never did none of that. That's just my folks. And Huram and Damon and Jonathan Gafar, they can't even understand what that means because they're not from the street. They don't have that mentality. So the thing I'm saying, they could never even understand. So Rakib Wali says you need to pray. He tells Huram, Damon, and Jonathan, you need to pray. Well, that contradicts everything Huram Shah has done in the last 9 months. He didn't pray for 40 days. He attacked me and made videos about me, saying I'm a fake Muslim. So that was hilarious to see. But that's what Huram Shah did. That's what Damon Stengel has psychological issues, mental issues. He needs to be monitored by the FBI and the CIA. You know, and I got my letters coming soon. I'm gonna have these mass letters going out. Watch me. Based on the harassment, the targeted harassment that you guys have done by the Ahmadiyya movement, it's not gonna fly, Chief. I'm gonna be at the UN. Amnesty International, they're gonna hear from me too. All these little groups, you guys are gonna hear from me. I'm gonna be there. I'm not part-time in it. I'm not doing this for any money. This is all free. Everything I do is for free, boss. I'm not here to charge nobody. All right, so let's see what else. Oh, hey, can you guys tell Jonathan Gafar to stop saying Muslim? It's a quick fix, Muslim. Jonathan, it's not a scene. In the Arabic, for Muslim, it's a S sound, not a Z sound. Okay, okay, that's not even really hard, not even a hard correction. But Kiki Huram won't correct him because he's like, you're one of the 10 white people who have joined Ahmadiyya in America. You can do anything you want. You can say anything you want. We won't ever correct you. You can lie, cheat, and steal, not have a job. We're here to help you. Okay, then Huram starts talking about Ahmadis that left. He's like, I know an Ahmadi that left, and I know this other Ahmadi I'm golfing with, who's who says he's got a girlfriend. Huram's a snitch, right? So whoever that Ahmadi is, don't tell this guy anything. And I'll tell you, the Quran says a Muslim can marry a Christian. So you don't need any Jamaat's approval. You can go to any imam in California, tell them you need a nikah, and you want to marry a Christian, they will marry you. As long as there's like other little requirements. But Huram's a snitch. You see, he just snitched on this guy, right? Okay, and then he tells a story. He says some guy died in the Baypoint Jamaat 2 years ago. His father died. I'm sorry. Some guy's father died in the Baypoint Jamaat 2 years ago. He's giving out clues, extreme clues. I can figure out who this is. I know who this is. And that person gave $1 million check. And you know why he's saying this? Because he's like, we converted this guy. We made him convert to Ahmadiyya and gave away the money of our children. And look, he gave the Khalifa $1 million. That's what he's saying. And that's hilarious to me. So he admits to it all. Okay, Damon Stengel is an office holder of the Jamaat. So an office holder of your Jamaat, two of them, Huram Shah, Damon Stengel, have been harassing me on the internet. Damon Stengel goes back 4 years. And this challenge goes to Damon Stengel too. If you really have that big of a problem with me, we can have a charity boxing event. And we can give the money to the homeless people. We could stream it. Say we make $20 off of it. $20 that'll work for the homeless. Let's do that, bro. If you got that much, if you have that much anger in your heart and that much rage, then I can help you get it out. Right? So I guess the caveat would be, I'm trained. I'm out of shape right now, but I'm a trained fighter, and these guys know it. And I was in the military, so okay. Young Amnys are going astray, a lot. He knows it. He just admitted that he's golfing with this guy, and he's already leaving, right? He's got a problem with the jamaat. All Ahmadis in America have a problem with the jamaat. The Murabbis are rude and arrogant people. The Pakistani immigrants, hardcore Ahmadis, are rude and arrogant. We don't like it. Huram doesn't care. Huram likes those people. Huram likes you if you're a Pakistani immigrant Ahmadi. He'll tie your shoes. He'll clean your shoes up. That's all you got to say. He'll support soccer. He'll do anything for these guys, right? That's what I'm saying is the issue. Oh, and then look. Then look, Huram says the Ahmadiyya community is the only one with youth programs. No other Islamic organization has youth programs. Just shows you how much of an idiot this guy is, man. You really got to be dumb to say something like that. Oh, and then Damon talks about being worldly. We know, Damon, you were probably smoking crack in Oshkosh, Wisconsin, and doing all kind of weird little sex games at the park with you and your crew of Oshkoshians. So, Oshkosh is a weird place, man. I've looked it all up, and I'm trying to find his family. If I ever find Damon's family, boy, it's on. Because the stories that they got on this guy, gonna be epic. All right, so let's see what else. So he's mad about my my blog, and excuse me, I have a small cough. He's mad about my blog, and he mentions a guy named Faris in the follow-up on Ahmadiyya forum on Facebook. Guess whose blog Faris has learned a lot from? Mine. My blog started a revolution. Everyone's on it. You need information about Ahmadiyya? I got it from a neutral perspective. Sometimes I give opinions, but the way the way that I present the information is rather neutral. Sorry about that. All right, so let's see what else here. Oh, so then he says Mirza Ghulam Ahmad stood the test of time. The test of time? The Messiah, when he returns, has got 40 years. And the day of judgment's approaching. We're at 140 years. Actually, 132 years since Mirza Ghulam Ahmad made his claim, 1889. Coming up on it, like 131 and some change. There's no overtime. Mirza Ghulam Ahmad, and look, how many Ahmadis are there in the world? It's like 150,000. You won't even tell us how many Ahmadis there are in America, right? So come on, bro. Oh, so then he tells Damon, yeah, Bashir came with, I'd beg Bashir, I'd ask Bashir, hey, can you read this out to me so I can type it? I'd come downstairs, I'm tired from work. I'm like, what do you want me to read, man? Like, what's going on? I'm a friendly dude, right? So I'm like, okay, I'll read it. I don't know what this is. I have no idea of the context. I wasn't even a student Ahmadiyya back then to study what is all this, right? So I just did it, and then like he asked me again and I snapped at him. I'm like, bro, man, do this yourself. Why do you need me? He was like, all right, man. And that was it. And that was it. I wasn't doing it. I did it for him once or maybe twice. But the third time I was like, nah, bro, you got it messed up. I don't spend my time doing this. You know, the problem with Hurram Shah is he doesn't know how to have an honest conversation. It's competitive. He's got this competitive thing. It's all about the bleed. The Ahmadiyya community taught him. His dad taught him. Don't tell him Jesus died in India. Tell him other stuff. Send him down this road. I don't do any of that. I talk to you straight, direct, and etc. So, all right. Let's see what else. Okay, so it's a fact. In West Africa, East Africa, the Ahmadiyya community took money from the government for schools. Now, I'm not going to ask a 90-year-old man to have a conversation about it, but I have a reference. See this right here? Okay, can you guys see this? I put on my glasses. Check it out. Primary school fees. Government aid to the secondary school. You guys see that? This is from Fisher, 1963. Humphrey Fisher broke the story. Ahmadiyya movement gets money from the government for schools and etc. He even said Ahmadi Murabbis don't even take the money. They give it to Chanda and etc. All right, so that's one. See the 35,000? That's the budget in 1959-60. Look here. Government aid to the secondary school, $16,000. It's right here. I don't make stuff up, bro. Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, my father is innocent in all of this. He was used and abused by the Mirza family. Those are the people who need to be arrested. Okay, so anyways, you guys see that? Do you see where it says government aid to secondary school? Okay, and then look. Organization and festival in the same book, $35,000. Mostly they're spending it on schools. The headquarters is the money that they got. They're like, Fisher wrote the most historical book on Ahmadiyya in Africa. If you haven't read Fisher, you know how your opinion doesn't count. If you've been to Africa and Nigeria, what did you see? What did you really see? You know what I mean? Just because you were there doesn't mean anything. It's what do you know about the facts of the situation? Have you read Fisher? No? Then sorry. You don't have a right to speak. Go read Fisher and come back and tell me how Fisher was wrong. And then tell me why does everyone quote Fisher? Right? And then it's funny because like the racist Ahmadis will be like, Fisher was a white man, right? And also, what does that mean? So now you go in the white man argument and say, oh, he was a white man, so he purposely wrote bad about us. See, here we go. So here we go. So it wasn't just government schools. The Talim al-Islam High School in Qadian, the British government gave like 150,000 rupees and built it. It's the biggest building in Qadian. Who built it? The British government. Fact. Look up the references. It's on my blog, right? Then the train station in Qadian, the British government built it for Ahmadis only. From Batala to Qadian, there's no other stop. That is a track. Batala, it heads to northeast. They made a track go from Batala to Qadian in 1929, I think, just for Qadianis. You see? And then the British government started a pilot training program at Qadian. This is unprecedented. This was the first time the British government held a pilot training school outside of England, in Qadian. I got all the references. Pull up the blog, bro. It's all good. So let me see what else. I don't want to take too much time. I want to be like very quick. I think that's pretty much everything. Yeah, so that being said, Been going for about 35 minutes. I just want to do my weekly Sunday show about what's going on in the world of Ahmadiyya, you know. And that's all, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamu alaikum and peace out.